Are you legally allowed to say you're a lawyer?
If I... Well, yeah.
Man of the year, man of the year, man of the year. Welcome to the #1 friendship podcast in the country. I'm Aaron Karo.
I'm Matt Ritter.
So Matt, in our very first episode, we talked about what are we going to call some of the solutions that we have for guys who want to make friends. I think you said hacks, and I didn't like it. And I said tips, and you said,
And then we came together and we said
tips/hacks.
And then for a minute there, we went just the tip, and then we're like, that's too crude. We're going back to
so now
hack/tip.
now we're just tips/hacks.
I thought it was hack/tips.
No, it's tips/. Producer Theo just gave a big shake of his head. No, it's tips/hacks. And I thought maybe we'd do an episode that was really just dedicated to some tips/hacks to help make new friends, because there's all kinds of, for lack of a better word, techniques. There are trips. There are books. And I thought we'd do like a little sampler platter. What's that called? Is that a mouche?
Poo-poo platter?
I don't know why it's...
I don't know why.
What's a amuse-bouche?
Amuse-bouche. That's the thing they in between meals, palate cleanser.
So that's like a little sherbet.
Yeah, that's a little sherbet.
Yeah, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Amuse-bouche is the in-between palate cleanser?
Yeah.
Palate cleanser will have
or pre-meal cleanser.
Okay, now it's a pre-meal cleanser.
It's both. It's either.
Okay.
Well, it's either. I want to give myself a little out.
Okay. Theo
it's a cleanser.
Theo will be looking it up.
Yeah. But also I love this idea because we do get a lot of messages. And I would say, like, if ever there was a constructive criticism, it's like, we want more. We want more tips. I'm like, okay, you can have more tips today.
And Matt, I also think we should just say that, you know, it's going to be a daunting thing. Like, we make it seem easy to make new friends, but like, it can be tough.
I don't even think in my own life, I find it daunting.
Well, not you.
No, I do. I don't want people to think I don't. Like, I do. Like,
yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, how do I, move this friendship forward, or like, how do I summon up the energy to say hi to this person? Or like today I had a dad wave hi to me across the street, and he tried to engage me, and I could have just kept moving, but I was like, no, I've seen this guy in the neighborhood a bunch of times. So I took the stroller across the street, but like, I had to like make that decision in the moment, and now I have his number.
That's great.
But I'm saying, like, I had to literally stop in the middle of the street, and I crossed the street to be like, you know what? I'm making a conscious choice to go, I've seen this guy a bunch of times. Like, maybe we should just he's a little kid. I have a little kid.
By the way, embrace consistency. You see the same people over and over again because you're probably walking the same route at the same time. Then the nod becomes a hey, and a hey becomes a hi, and a hi becomes a number, and a number becomes a friend.
So I'm at number, but I'd like to be at friend.
You're at number, you'd like to be friend. So the first thing I want to talk about is this idea. It's called the golden retriever technique.
Oh, no, that's not what a golden retriever sounds like. I don't know. Ow! No, that's a wolf.
And this comes from an article on Quartz that someone sent in by this...
article on what?
Quartz. It's QZ.com.
Oh, yeah. The way you say it.
Quartz?
Yeah, you're missing the...
Quartz?
Yeah, quartz.
I think I said quartz before.
Yeah, you said quartz. I was like, is that some sort of NBA hoopers? Because me and Theo are hoopers,
Anyway, so it's by the author Sarah Todd. And basically, the technique is that, cribbing from a golden retriever. A golden retriever is always really happy to see you, but doesn't give a shit if you are happy to see them. So if you put that into human terms, when you see someone, you're always very happy to see them, but you don't really care what they think about you. Now, when I told you about this, you loved it.
I love it because I just realized I am a golden retriever. Like, I don't care about your sour moodiness, whatever. Like,
so not me?
No, not you. Not you, but even if it were you, I don't care. I'm coming in the way I come into a room, the way I greet people, which is always with enthusiasm, always with excitement. My mom, my sister, my brother, we're all that way. And I don't like change it to match somebody's like, oh, how are you? I'm like, no, I'm good. And I'm going to project that happiness and joy in the world that I always bring with me. And if you don't like it, tough.
I have so many thoughts running through my head. One, this must happen to you a lot because you have a lot of sad sacks in your life.
I mean, there's just a range of people, but we talked about this on a few episodes ago. I have people in my life that aren't always walking around with a smile on their face, and you don't have to, and I don't expect you to. I just happen to be built that way. So I'm not like saying, hey, everybody should do this.
Right.
But I liked it because it kind of, I guess, verified or like made me feel validated.
Yeah.
For the way that I engage people. Just like the initial, how I say hello to people is always sort of with enthusiasm for both new friends and old friends.
What's interesting about this is that you can only control so much in an interaction.
You control your side.
Exactly. So I like that. Like, it's not trying to do too much. Like, just be friendly.
Also, is there something to be said for like, dogs know how to make friends?
Yeah. I mean, everyone loves to.
Yeah. They're called man's best friend. Dogs are the greatest friend makers.
What about?
I'm giving the dog credit for like thinking.
Yeah.
They're like, maybe there should be dogs hosting a friendship podcast.
I mean, I'm sure we'll be replaced any moment now. But the idea that you don't really care if other people are excited to see you, I mean, that also takes some.
I'll tell you what, my wife's the same way. And there have been times in my life.
She's a golden retriever.
We're both golden retrievers.
Two golden retrievers.
Two golden retrievers.
Yeah.
And we're warm, overly,
affectionate.
And there have been times at larger gatherings, I feel like maybe at weddings or like just bigger events where I've definitely felt like the judgment of the way that we are.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Too friendly?
Yes.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. I remember there was a wedding we went to where there was a woman who didn't like Jess's positive energy. And you could just tell, like, the way she was.
Because they thought it was fake, maybe?
I don't know the why. I guess that's, I don't know the why.
Yeah.
Somebody gets sort of, don't like that. But I've definitely felt that a few times where it's like, what's this guy's problem?
Well,
what's this guy's deal? He's so freaking happy. What is he walking around, freaking happy guy?
I don't know if this is very helpful. What? Sometimes it backfires, the technique.
No, I'm just saying, it's not that it backfires. It's just that not everybody's going to be receptive to it.
But you know what? I'm sure you agree with this. The people who react negatively, that's on them.
It's also people you don't want to be friends with.
Right.
Right? If people are going to react negatively to your positive way that you engage, like, nah, screw them.
By the way, I just want to let you know, I'm going to call you into service soon. So I'm having a big birthday party soon. I was thinking about this. And as we know, I like to invite people from my entire social universe. Going to be a lot of different groups there. Theo's going to be there with his dad.
Wow, we're really going broad.
And I need you to, I need you to facilitate a little bit. Like, there's going to be some people coming in who don't know that many people. I need you to work them.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be people who I've mentioned in the pod that you've never met before.
Oh, I love this.
Or people who listen to the pod have never met you.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to be on. You're going to be on.
I love this.
So
party on, Wayne.
Yeah. Are you bringing the kid? The kid can't be in a birthday party. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is solo travel. Now, solo travel is not exactly the right terminology because there's all these companies now for traveling. It's a group travel.
Right. So they've already made it easy.
But you don't know anybody.
Yeah, but they've already cut half of the battle for you.
Right. So the New York Times did a whole profile on this company, Flashpack, which is basically like for millennials. I think it's 30 to 45.
Shouldn't they be sponsoring us if we're giving them a shout out like this?
Well, let's see what we say about it.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
So it's highly curated. I think the trip in the article is in Morocco. You start out, you don't know anybody. There's icebreakers. Everything is very geared to meeting people. Yeah. And you're traveling with strangers.
You just did a trip where you went alone.
Yeah.
You knew some people before and you didn't?
So I just went to a trip to Israel, which was not Birthright, because Birthright's like young Jews. This is a little bit older, also 30 to 45, a program called Reality. And I knew a couple people that I'd met through the program.
Okay, so you weren't totally going
prior. When I did it myself 5 years ago, this time I was a facilitator. When I went 5 years ago, I went in completely not know anybody.
And did you have an approach going in? Because I think that's part of it. It's like mindset of like, I'm going to make friends. Did you go in like, I want to meet some people, or not like, hey, we always say like, don't try to make friends, but did you go in with the mindset of like, I'm going to be very sort of outgoing, put myself out there, be vulnerable, that kind of stuff?
That's what I think is so great about these trips. It's like, you're not going on this trip if you're not like
self-selecting.
Yes, it's self-selecting, but it's also like you're with, X amount of people for a full week, sometimes longer. In Israel, we're on a bus. You can't not meet people.
Right. So I think the point is, if you're taking these kinds of trips, you're pretty likely to make friends just by the setup.
Yeah, just by dint of even being there. Yeah. But I think also, we've talked about this, like having an experience like that, having memories, having photos, having uninterrupted time together. is really conducive to that. But is it daunting? I don't know. Like to sign up for that.
So the alternative, let me just push back.
Yeah.
Is going solo.
Yeah.
Traveling.
Yeah.
And making friends while you travel.
Yeah.
That's harder.
Yeah.
But I find like I took a post-bar trip with three of my close friends.
Post-bar meaning
when I passed the bar.
Okay.
When I took the bar.
Okay. Well, I haven't mentioned the bar in a while.
Yeah. It's I'm a lawyer. I mean, I'm not. I am a lawyer by title.
Are you legally allowed to say you're a lawyer?
If I, I've got a letter from New York State currently sitting in my tables. I have to either pay the $375 or re-announce my retirement. You have to restate that you're retiring every 2 years.
Can you do any legal work right now?
No, I'd have to unretire.
But you were actually never past the bar in LA anyway, in California.
I never took the bar in California.
Never took the bar, right.
But if you work, there are rules. If you worked as a lawyer for 5 years and you work at a company that has more than 10 employees, you can waive in. There's all these.
Okay.
Nobody cares. I took a trip to Australia. 3 of my close friends, they all had to leave early for whatever reason to get back to New York. So the last week I was by myself.
Oh God, you probably did so well.
Yeah. Made friends, but I realized like when you're alone, you just are totally, you have to make that choice. If you're at a bar or whatever, that you're going to engage strangers. That's hard.
Yeah.
I did things that I think are dangerous, maybe like offering rides to strangers. I had a car.
You had a car in Australia?
Yeah.
Why?
I rented a car because it's far. It's huge. The east coast of Australia is like the size of
you take a train or a bus.
Yeah, I rented a car.
So you're picking up hitchhikers?
Yeah, not hitchhikers, just people I met at like places. Uh-huh. And I was like, "Do you want to come with me to this park? I'm going to tomorroam." Like,
what a
crazy! Yeah, like crazy.
No, but
then it seemed that I seem like
a killer. You seem crazy, not them.
Right. And it's like, am I the killer or are they the killer?
Yeah.
But I think like it takes going on one of these trips. I think it takes away some of the good things that you're forced to do in some ways. But I think it also. Overall, net, it's just easier.
It sounds
so much
super
easier.
Fun
and fun.
Super fun. Now they cost a few $1,000, but like I would do that.
Right.
Let's actually go to our listener question because it isn't about solo travel.
Asking for a friend.
Guys, this is asking for a friend. If you have any friendship questions, ethical dilemmas, hit us up on Instagram, Man of the Year Podcast, and we'll answer it on the show. So we're going to have Theo read today's listener question.
All right, so the listener question. Hi, guys. I love the pod, but I have a potential problem and I'm looking for a tip/hack. So I recently sucked it up and bought a plane ticket to go to Paris by myself and do solo traveling. I'm looking to make some new friends on my journey and maybe even a significant other. The only problem is I don't speak French. Yes, I know that sounds incredibly dumb, but I will be traveling through France alone without speaking the language. Any tips to help me overcome the language barrier and meet some locals? Thank you. Keep up the good work.
God, bro, Theo really has no intonation in his
voice.
He
really like wowed us with.
Yeah.
He wants more airtime. Let me just go flat for 2 minutes.
Talking to us, he's very excited. He reads the thing. All right, well.
First of all, France, tough country when you don't speak the language. They are not like overly trying to help you.
Yeah. My experience with France is like, it has a reputation of they're rude, but it's true.
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
I have the best rude French story.
Yeah.
Should I tell this story? Yeah. So Jesse and I were on our way to Fireball Adams' wedding.
Yeah.
But we stayed the night before somewhere that was 6 hours away. So we were just like in our New York state of mind, like rush.
Yeah. And
I said, I don't speak French. I was like, can I have a du café to go? I wanted 2 coffees to go.
Yeah.
They were like, what? I'm like, du café to go.
Yeah.
So they go, oh, okay. And they handed us 2 bottles of water. I'm like, no. Coffee, cafe. To go.
Yeah.
So they go, oh. So then they set up an entire garden breakfast for us with the coffees and like American dipshits.
Yeah.
We're standing with our coffees, and sipping them. And the guy comes over, he goes, please sit down. And I show him the map and I'm like, oh, but it's 6 hours away. I gotta go. He's like, please sit down. And she's like, well, we already packed up the car. And he looks around, he goes, look around. Look at where you are. This is not Starbucks.
Yeah. Because they don't have to go.
No, they have nowhere to go. These people have never. So we sat down, we're like, stop being such ugly Americans.
Right.
Anyway.
No, because they don't even do to go.
No, they don't. Their concept is absurd to them. Like, you have to put a cup of coffee in a plastic cup to leave where?
Right.
Why?
right.
It's only 4 hours.
Yeah.
We're only going to sit here for 4 hours. Where are you going to go?
Yeah. But traveling, are you good when you're, do you try to learn any language?
I do. But it's hard. I'm not great with languages.
Yeah.
Like, I remember before I even knew Spanish, somebody tricked me into saying something stupid in another language.
Yeah.
He goes, go up to that girl and say, this is really good. It's going to be like, hey, I'm a student here or whatever.
Right.
I said, hola, quiero llevar su culo como un sombrero. And I knew sombrero. And he told me that it was, hey, I'm an American. Do you like this hat?
Yeah.
And it actually means I want to wear your ass as a hat. Quickest way to get slapped.
Oh, good Lord.
If you don't speak the language, so answer your listener question. If you don't speak the language, France is like a tough place to go, but you have to try.
By the way, I actually don't know if it's a he or she. Are they talking about meeting she said locals? Because you could also, when you're solo travel, meet the other travelers.
Other expats.
Yeah.
Here's a tip / hack. There's always an expat bar in every city.
I know, but that's kind of like
going against the experience.
Yeah.
But if you don't speak the language and you're feeling uncomfortable and you're feeling shy, it's a hack. It's a cheat. It's a cheat code for that country. Because you can still get. It's not like saying, "Hey, spend all of your time with Americans in France." It's saying if you're the type of person, maybe you're a little introverted, maybe it feels daunting to go talk to people who don't speak English.
Yeah.
Go to the expat bar, and I bet you those expats have friends that are French.
A couple thoughts. One, you always learn a few key phrases. Even if it's like, I don't speak English very well. I'm sorry.
Où est la toilette?
Yeah. And also in Paris, let's say, there's going to be a lot of English speakers.
Yeah.
So what I would do is deploy the golden retriever technique. So when you're talking to someone, you're going to be very open and happy and excited. Like they may be like, oui, fuck you, or whatever.
Oui, fuck you. Yes, fuck you. And then they'll do it like this, the Eminem style. They go, oui, I love Eminem. And this is why I do it with the weird knuckle square.
Okay, for those not watching on YouTube, Matt is doing his weird middle finger thing.
I do a regular one. I don't like the Eminem stuff.
So you're going to be very happy and kind, and you're going to say in French, I'm really sorry, I don't speak English.
Je ne parle pas français. That's what you say.
And then, some people are going to say, get out of my face. Yeah. But a couple people will be very excited that you try.
Je suis American idiota.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, self-deprecation is pretty good. Self-deprecation is pretty good. I mean, I would stick to the cities. Yeah. Stick to Paris.
Oh, it's tough in the suburbs. Outer cities where nobody speaks English.
When I went to France in college with our buddy Jay, who's in the Luger's group, a couple days before we left, he was walking in the subway in Manhattan, and I believe he either thought he saw someone he knew or he saw like an attractive woman, and he looked and then he walked face first into a stanchion.
Ooh,
he had to get stitches in his forehead.
I remember that.
And then his mom had a cousin who knew a doctor
in
the suburb of the Plainview of France, of Paris.
Wow.
So he took a train to the suburbs, like
and
the
he
Long Island Railroad.
Up. He got Plainview.
No. He had the stitches from America. He had removed. And they did a real botch job. Oh my God. Yeah. It was the French National Health Service, whatever it's called. It's a real botch job. God. So golden retriever technique, learn a few sentences, hit up the expat bar, stay in the cities.
Okay. Here's other tip.
Okay.
There's a lot of communication in this world that is nonverbal. There's a lot you can communicate non-verbally. We have multiple ways of doing this, right? You've got just your demeanor, smiling, open, the way that you sit. If you're at a bar, say go to the bar, sit at the bar where there'll be other single travelers, have your body be open and not curled up like I'm just alone. Don't have your earbuds in like as I do, speakerphone.
Yeah.
But the other one is, hey, what about rocking a tee that is peacock?
Here's what we should do. So for our listeners, you can see on YouTube, we are wearing our merch right now. It says, "We should be friends."
Let's get it in French.
That's what I was just going to say.
Oh, yes, I love it.
Theo, will you look up how to say "we should be friends" in French?
That's great.
So yes, you go to bonfire.com/Man of the Year podcast, and maybe we just do a bunch of shirts in a bunch of different languages.
Yeah. By the way, I think this is why people stay at hostels sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? So where you stay can help with making friends. Or if you're staying at a hotel, I find lobbies of hotels when I'm traveling, like Jesse and I, we make friends in the lobby.
Yeah.
If you hang out in the lobby, there's always like a communal drinking area.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a really good one.
Yep. What is it?
Oh, I'm gonna butcher this. You ready?
But do it with a little love.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little
I'm
chutzpah.
gonna listen to it one more time, and then I'm gonna give it my shot.
Okay.
Nous devrions être amis. Nous devrions être amis.
You just said it really fast.
Slow down.
They speak pretty quickly in
slow
France.
down.
Just read it. Just read it.
Nous devrions être amis.
Nous devrions être amis.
Okay. I mean,
You just gotta say it fast, though, and then it works.
Wait, so what other tips do we have for this?
I mean, this is the most tips we've ever given on any question.
Pretty good.
I mean,
feel like we
Jesus.
got it.
Yeah, let us know how this trip goes.
Yeah.
Asking for a friend.
Great. Well, that was asking for a friend. If you have friendship questions, send it to them on Instagram, Man of the Year Podcast, and we'll answer them on the show. So there's one other sort of tip, hack, program we want to talk about, which is co-living. Okay, so this is like a new trendy thing, which is like there's apartment complexes where you have your own place, but everything else is optimized for meeting people. So lots of common areas, common kitchens, common outdoors, co-living. What do you think about that?
So we talked about this on the pod about how when you're in your teens, 20s, your people are always around. And it's optimized for friendship because you live in a dorm and there's just people everywhere and you can just walk into somebody's room. Even in your early 20s, I would submit, in most major cities, there are like these starter apartment buildings. Like in New York, you live in the 34th Street in any of those buildings, you'll meet all of your neighbors and you'll end up being friends with them.
Yeah.
But as you get older, it's just like life doesn't work like that. But now they're basically saying, hey, for those of us that need that, we're giving you the opportunity to continue in a situation that it makes it a lot easier for you to just know your neighbors.
It's like the we-workification of living.
I think, what's this guy's name? Adam
Newman?
Yeah, he was like trying to do a We Live.
Yeah. I mean, is there any downside? Sounds pretty fun.
Is there a downside?
I mean, not everything can be about meeting people all the time. If you're like, could it be exhausting?
Could be a little exhausting. I feel like those places are for people that want to be like hyper social.
Right. Or moving to a new city.
Or maybe moving to a new city. But I do think the downside could be that like now you feel like you got to be on all the time when you're going home. And sometimes you want to shut it off when you go home.
Right.
But like what we talk about with our third place, or like now you're like mixing your social place. Imagine if you brought your country club to your house or your whatever, your fraternity to your, it's like living in a fraternity house.
We haven't got an unrelatable Matt in a while.
I don't have I'm not even a member of a country club.
I'm not even a member.
Yet.
So just to repeat, first place is home, second place is work, your third place is any place people socialize, big proponent of that on this pod. This is combining them all into one.
Yeah, I don't want to live at Soho House. Relatable Matt.
Unless you would.
Yeah, I would.
Don't they have living?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to do that.
God, to come down from your apartment and be in Soho House,
that's what I'm
like
saying.
A nightmare.
Yeah, that's a little
Absolute
much. It's almost like, when you wake up from a nap in Vegas and you're like still groggy and tired, but like it's blaring.
Yeah.
It is on. It's a daytime pool party. You're like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this. Imagine that being every day of your life.
Well, you're assuming these places are partying all day.
I have this vision of like complete Animal House
chaos,
but it's probably just like a bunch of tech bros, like just hanging out, like philosophizing.
Yeah. I mean, now we're making it sound really bad, but I think it's probably just people like having a coffee in the lobby. There's one other book I want to talk about. You actually brought this to my attention a few months ago. It's called The 2-Hour Cocktail Party.
Yeah, you poo-pooed me at first.
I poo-pooed and, I think, listen, we've got to keep an open mind. And so basically this guy is talking about, now you need to have some friends to start this off. So the author's name is Nick Gray. The book's called The 2-Hour Cocktail Party. And basically he sets forth a technique for bringing together some different people in your life for a, obviously, 2-hour cocktail party in your place, not in a bar. Now, you have to have a place where you can handle a bunch of people. You need to have people to invite. But he says basically you start with a couple friends or one or two friends and then invite sort of weaker ties, colleagues, work people, friends of friends. Do it on a non-weekend. Save it for 2 hours. Give people name tags. It's sort of just a codified way of doing a cocktail party. What do you think about that?
So I was thinking about it in the sense that we have gone to a bunch of Penn alumni events.
Yeah.
And they are essentially 2-hour cocktail parties.
Okay.
Wouldn't you agree that most of those you always have a name tag and it's sort of like, a couple people, but most people are kind of strangers, but you have like, you're all kind of aware that you're there to meet people. So it does feel like that. I feel like we've had a lot of practice at the cocktail party. And I think for a lot of people, it would do them a lot of good to have more of those. We need Penn to do those cocktail parties. But now I'm realizing like, oh, anybody can do those.
I had a thought. Should I have name tags at my birthday party?
Yes. What's the downside?
Well, what's the downside? I mean, is it lame?
Are we over that? It's not a whole purpose of our podcast. Get over the stuff that you think is lame. Okay, let me feel uncomfortable.
You're right. I would say because, a good portion of the people do know each other. Right. So it's like...
What portion of the people do not know each other?
Also, there'll be like a third will be sort of not...
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other reason that I would say in the pro camp. Because you may make friends with somebody there and you're not going to remember their name. It's very hard to remember somebody's name at a Karo Bonanza.
Yeah. Well, I think also it makes people more open.
Yeah.
You see someone...
It's a starter. It's a combo starter. It's part of the 2-hour cocktail party. It's number one, right? I'd say the number one easiest way to start the cocktail party off thing is with the name tag.
Right.
Usually what I liked about Penn, though, is in addition to the name.
Yeah.
For Penn, it tells you the year of the school you went to.
Right.
I feel like if you're going to do that.
How do you know Karo?
Gym friend, work friend,
right.
Childhood, or date you met him?
I mean, how are people going to remember that?
I don't know.
Karo friends since?
Karo. So I'll go Karo 86.
Yeah. Oh, my Lord. And that's pretty funny.
That's funny. Just food for thought.
Yeah.
Or you could try something else, but Karo 86. Class of 80s. K of 86.
It's funny. We haven't talked about this in a few months, but remember I've told you that there's a guy who's worn a name tag.
For 300 days?
For like 3,000.
Oh, 3,000. He has a tattoo under it.
Yeah.
He takes off his shirt and still in the same
You were
spot.
obsessed with it. That was an early episode. Obsessed.
Yeah. Is he coming?
I think he lives in St. Louis.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
But okay, I'm thinking about that. I guess we got to practice what we preach in this fucking podcast.
Right. Let's not be ashamed.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to have our audience think that we can't do this stuff.
Just putting 10 people in a cocktail party with name tags, some of whom don't know each other. Again, you're self-selecting if you're showing up for this.
Yes.
Now you need to know 10 people to invite, and we realize not everybody has that, but maybe you do.
Right.
Maybe you do.
Again, I'm sort of the mind for our listeners out there, and you can correct me in a message, but I think a large majority of the people, again, I go back to this thing that say they have no friends. They actually do. They haven't activated them. But even if you have no friends,
right,
you know 10 people.
Right.
I have very hard pressed to believe that there's a lot of people out there that just don't know anyone, that have no emails, no phone numbers in there. They're just walking around with a phone that just has their own number in it. Like Domino's Pizza.
Well, there's inbox zero and then there's contact zero.
Yeah, contact. Show me a contact zero on this planet.
Yeah.
And I'll show you Ted Kaczynski.
I mean, that's a great way to profile. But yeah, we talked about how a lot of guys are married with kids and say they have no friends. Well, your wife has friends. Your wife is a friend. Right. Also, I think you've said often, you think people don't want to be invited to stuff, but they do.
Yeah.
But they do.
Yeah.
So, okay, so 2-hour cocktail party. You've turned me around once again.
And you're going to do name tags?
I'm thinking about name. By the time this airs, we'll have decided if we do name tags.
We have to take pictures of the name tag.
Yeah, of course.
I was just going to say, I do like the name tag. I like the where you met or what were you doing when we met thing, because it can be a nice icebreaker, right? If you're like, where'd you meet Karo? Dodger game.
Yeah.
What were you doing? Dodger game. What were you doing? Venice Run
Maybe
Club.
where is even better. Maybe Theo's right. The where you met Karo is better.
So you would say childhood.
Right.
Someone would say college.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it's like he said, Dodger game or like CrossFit.
That's a lot of information on a name tag, though.
Not really. One word.
But
one word.
But they need their name.
Yeah, name and then one word.
Okay. Name.
I think no name. It's not a name tag.
No, you have to have the name, because then that defeats the whole purpose of what I'm saying is you want to be able to remember somebody's name. That's a thing that makes people feel cared about and feel seen, is when you know their name. That's like rule one of socializing, Theo. That's why he's behind the...
Says the man who can't remember anyone's name.
That's why I need the name tag.
So he needs a name tag. All right, name tags. I'm going to do it. Should we see if we had any mistakes? Let's do Erroneous with Thelonious.
Yeah, so a very French episode today. The Erroneous segment is Amuse-bouche.
Well, he already got it erroneous by calling it Amuse. It's Amuse-bouche.
Amuse-bouche.
Okay.
And that's mouth amuser is the translation there.
That's what they call my junk.
Jesus H. Christ almighty.
Yeah. Okay, mouth amuser. And a small bite-sized hors d'oeuvre, normally served right before the main course.
Okay, so you snuck in a little qualification to your thing. You were wrong. and you snuck it in.
Yeah, I'm still wrong.
You said it was a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
And you said no, it happens before. And that's right.
Yeah, I know. But they're saying that it's say again, because it's not exactly just a palate cleanser.
It's not a palate
I think
cleanser.
it can be served at different times.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, it's sent from the kitchen probably right before the main course, but I think it could also be done maybe right after you order as
so
well.
I was pretty right.
How come when he talks to us, he has a normal intonation in his voice, but when he reads the question, it's like, I want to know.
You know what? Maybe he was one of those kids who's a late reader.
Yeah.
So much pressure on you in class, you know?
Yeah.
You can't make a mistake.
Yeah.
You don't got time for embellishment.
Is that it?
That's all. Yeah.
I love that during the Erroneous, he pronounced Amuse wrong. It was great.
I mean, it must be tough. He's Googling stuff while we're yapping in his
so
ear.
Hard. He's got it so rough.
And that was
Erroneous with
Thelonious. So let's do some shout outs, Matt.
Shout out to Armando from Lubbock, one of our earliest, biggest fans, always messaging us. Keep it up. We want to see you in a t-shirt though, because we're giving you a shout out. So send us a pic of you in the t-shirt.
I love how we shout people out and then they now have to purchase.
I think so. It's
Instead of us sending the merch.
Quid pro quo.
Yeah, it's a quid pro
Armando.
quo. If you have any shout outs you want us to make on the podcast, hit us up on Instagram and we will shout out you, your friend, your family, whoever you want. So Matt, what did we learn today?
You know, these were hacks that are baked in, right? We're making like these companies, the co-living, the solo traveler companies, expat bars. These are things that have been baked in already from the problem that we're trying to solve here, which is like, hey, it's hard to get out of your comfort zone.
I think these are ways to kind of supercharge your friend making.
Yeah.
Because it's being done for you for a price.
Right. And because we're saying like, it's hard, we want you to get off 0. They're starting you at a 5.
Yes. One of our tips is get off 0, which is do something.
Right. You move into a co-living space, you're going to have friends.
Yeah.
You go on a trip that is a bunch of other solo travelers, you're going to make a friend. You go to a country you don't speak the language at all, you go to an expat bar, you'll make it a little easier.
And when you're in these places, use the golden retriever technique. Be friendly and nice, even if people aren't friendly and nice to you.
Yes. Ow!
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know what a golden retriever sounds like. I have a Frenchie. My Frenchie goes, oh.
Remember, I was talking to the phone the other day, and they're like, "Oh, is that your baby boy?" He goes, "That's the dog."
Yeah.
The dog. The whimpering. Ooh. On that note, that's our show. We have merch at bonfire.com/Man of the Year podcast. Be good to yourself. Be good to your friends.
Love you,
buddy.